So let's now tackle an important topic, DHCP options. But we're not going to just talk about it, we're going to master it using PowerShell. Now you might be wondering, why even PowerShell to manage DHCP options? Well, imagine having to configure tons of servers and scopes. Kind of a repeating process right now, broken record. PowerShell automates all that stuff. You can use PowerShell to set the configuration as script, execute it once. The approach is not efficient, it's also reliable. Today we'll cover two levels where DHCP options can be set, the server level and scope level. Each has its advantages and specific use cases, and we're going to learn how to navigate both. All right, let's put theory into practice. In this demo, we're going to focus on server level DHCP options. Specifically, we'll look at configuring the DNS suffix and the router for clients. So what would you expect by the end of this demo? Well, you'll know how to create these options, set their values, and apply them directly, all using PowerShell. So maybe you're responsible for configuring DHCP options for new branches of your organization. Well, maybe you have a branch that's maybe using a new domain. You got a new Active Directory domain maybe, and it needs to change the gateway router. You'll need to change some DHCP options for that. So let's get to it. So I'm here on the DHCP server again, and I'll start by verifying if the DHCP options for the new branch are already configured. So we're primarily interested in options 15 and 13. I can use the get DHCP server v4 option value commandlet for that. So you can see here, using where object, I've filtered the output of get DHCP server v4 option value. That commandlet is way too long to only show option ID 15, which is the DNS domain name, and option 3, which is the router or the default gateway the clients will receive. So if the options are not configured, it wouldn't return anything. So it looks like the router is already set up, but it's the old one and there's no DNS domain name set. So let's change that. So first, I'll configure the DNS domain name. Using the set DHCP server v4 option value commandlet here, I can specify the ID of the DHCP scope I'd like to change, in this case 192.168.1.0, the option ID for the DNS domain name, and the domain of this branch. Hit enter, and I think it's set. We'll check here in a minute, and now I will do the same thing for the router, which is option 3. So pretty much the exact same thing, specifying the scope ID, the option ID of 3 this time of the router, and this time the value is the new router IP address. Looks like it worked. Now let's verify to make sure it actually did work. We can run the get DHCP server v4 option value commandlet again, and voila. It is set to 192.168.1.2 for the router, and the domain name is set up for Bethany's Pie Shop. Now, just to make sure I cover the entire life cycle, you can also run remove DHCP server v4 option value as well. You can see that I've actually ran that in the past for some testing, but because we don't need to do that in this situation, I'm not going to do that. That simply clears out or removes any of the option values. So in this demo, you learn how to configure essential DHCP options to give you the skills to manage one or dozens of DHCP scopes.